Well, listen, we're asking Liverpool fans, 08717 223344. We're asking, is this the end of the Jurgen Klopp dominance in the Premier League? We've seen him win the Premier League. We've seen him get to a Champions League final. We've also seen him win the Champions League final. But is it all over, Mr. Ambrose? We know they've been unlucky with injuries. We can't stress that enough. Virgil van Dijk's injury, Jota at the time. But do you think this is the end of it and that they maybe need to freshen things up a little bit?
I think they could come back stronger. Now, we can't really look into the future and tell what's going to happen. But if we look at the last 3 seasons, I think after 25 games in 2018-19, they were on 62 points. They obviously finished that game second, an incredible 97 points. 2019-2020, after 25 games, they won 73 points, finished first, won the league. Brilliant. This year, they won 40 points. That's a staggering drop. 33 points they've dropped in one season. And yeah, we talk about injuries, of course, and can you keep blaming injuries? I don't know. They will. I think they will, but I think we dug out a stat. One of the guys dug out a stat that this is the 18th.
Was it Jackie? Did Jackie get out the stat?
Jackie dug the stat out. 18th different centre-back pairing they've had. 18 different. That's incredible.
But listen, whose fault was that? Virgil van Dijk went down early doors, and they know about Matip's injury history. Obviously, Gomez, I think he was on international duty. He had a bad injury. Why did it take him so long then to then find 2 centre-backs? And to be fair, they found 2 centre-backs, and one of them's not even played a minute yet.
I think the owners have to take responsibility, and we spoke about this in the pre-show meeting. You look at Manchester City and the money they've lavished on their back line because it wasn't working. So Pep Guardiola kept going to the board, kept saying, I need another fullback, I need 2 more central defenders. And he got them, and they're 10 points clear at the top, and we're talking about the quadruple. Manchester United, a year ago, when there was a genuine concern they wouldn't qualify for the Champions League, they went out and signed Bruno Fernandes, and they qualified for the Champions League. Chelsea, in order to cement their place in the top 4, spent more than £220 million in the summer. It isn't the Liverpool way. You know, with the greatest respect in the world, you wouldn't find Manchester City signing a defender from the worst team in Germany. Not just the worst team in Germany. They're an absolute basket case of a club, Schalke. Conceded goals for fun. He was never going to be good enough, Ozan Kabak. And we've seen already, he just isn't of the standard required. Manchester City would not sign Ben Davies from Preston. They go out and they sign Ruben Diaz, who's a Rolls Royce of a central defender, and they win the league. Surely the owners, when Virgil van Dijk was injured, rather than first of all not signing anybody, and then secondly just signing clearly stopgap players. I don't know if Ben Davies will even play in the Premier League. For Liverpool.
Cookie,
they should have gone out and signed a £50-60 million defender to compete with Virgil van Dijk when he's fit. But the ownership structure doesn't allow that. And you could argue that when you look at all that, maybe Jurgen Klopp has already overachieved with what he's done there. I mean, Darren listed the achievements.
Well, Crookie, you said there about would Manchester City go out and buy a defender from the worst team in Germany? But you've got to admit, they went and bought a player from a team that got relegated in Nathan Ake. So...
Yeah, but he proved himself in the Premier League.
Yeah, but,
he's been on the books at Chelsea. He'd been excellent for Bournemouth. I don't think the comparison is relevant.
But you think, because I like Nathan Ake and I'm a big fan of his, but my point is that they did go and do that, Manchester City. They went to a team that got relegated and they did sign a player from there for a lot of money. So they would go and do it, and clearly Manchester City saw something in Nathan Ake where they thought he can improve us, maybe potentially like Liverpool did in Kabak.
They haven't pinned their hopes on him, have they? I mean, he barely plays now, Nathan Ake. He was a squad player, signed for a lot of money. They're asking Ozan Kabak to come in and plug that massive Virgil van Dijk size hole, and he clearly isn't good enough to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right with Ake. I think you look, he had a season in the Premier League. I think that's the difference. This Ozan Kabak, I don't think many of us had heard of him before. It was kind of a surprise signing. So Ake, although they got relegated with him in the team, he still, every week he was playing against these forwards. So I think Pep could see that he can go against these Premier League centre forwards. I don't know what Liverpool do. I've seen people call for Jurgen Klopp to go, and no chance. No. He doesn't deserve that.
But do you agree with what Crookie was saying there, that he thinks maybe Jurgen Klopp overachieved?
Potentially, but I mean, you've got to give him next season. He deserves that, of course, because they won the Champions League, then they won the Prem, Super Cup, FIFA World Club Cup, and then they've trailed off a bit. I mean, Man City trailed off last year. I think they come second, so they didn't trail off as far as Liverpool. There's still a long way to go in this season. They can still turn it around, and they won't get to the title, of course. But his first club, I think Mainz, his second club, Dortmund, he was there for 7 years. You know, and I think this is his 6th year at Liverpool. He's got his highest percentage win rate as a manager here at Liverpool. So he deserves another chance, and you know he's had some bad news over the recent weeks that he's made public that he doesn't want that anything to do with football. He can turn it off when he needs to, but you know it's just not a good season for Liverpool, and I think all Liverpool fans will give him the opportunity to come back stronger.
Crookie, what do you think needs to happen in the summer then? Do you think they need a complete rehaul of the squad? For me personally, I think that they do need to let maybe 1 or 2 of them go. I think they've gone past their sell-by day at that football club. Now, when I'm talking about people like that, I'm talking about Origi. Now, we know Origi has been massive for them in big games, scored Champions League finals, semi-finals. Do you know what I mean? He's been massive for them. But he's only 26, 27 years old. For himself personally, he's achieved everything. Champions League, Premier League. Go out and play some regular football somewhere else.
Yeah, and you have to question why he hasn't done that. You know, is he too comfortable just filling the bench at Anfield? Sorry,
are you right?
Frog in my throat there. You know, is he comfortable just to sit on the bench at Anfield? I mean, you look at the players they brought on yesterday when they were chasing the game. He was one. Shaqiri was another. Again, with the greatest respect in the world, that they're just not players who would get in that Manchester City squad. And Darren Ambrose has made a couple of relevant points, actually, over the course of the season that maybe we dismissed at the time. One was Thiago and the fact that he slows Liverpool down, he passes the ball sideways. I do think he's affected the way they play the game. I don't think he fits into the way that Jurgen Klopp ideally would want to play with that high energy, that high press. And Roberto Firmino is a good link-up player. You know he's not going to score a lot of goals. He wears number 9, but he isn't really a number 9. But he can get away with that if the team are flying and if they're playing well. If they're not, and you're looking for inspiration and you're looking for someone to get you back in games and score important goals, he's just not that man. So I think they need a centre forward. And then you've got the Mohamed Salah situation that he's been flirting openly with the likes of Real Madrid. I think there are a lot of problems there that Jurgen Klopp needs to address. And if they don't spend significant money, you can't see how they're going to make up that gap on Manchester City.
I think the gap could be massive, but I do think recruitment has got to be massive. I mean, FSG, they've got to put their hands in their pocket now and really spend some serious money. I think they're going to have to, because you look at the two teams and where they are, and I know, as I said, Liverpool have had a lot of injuries, but Manchester City, I feel at the minute, are pulling away from Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? You said they're Liverpool, what? 6th in the Premier League. We're talking about the Premier League champions here. Do you know what I mean?
The 2 seasons prior, they lost 4 games.
Exactly.
This season, 7 already.
They've lost in all competitions 4 out of the last 5, which is scary. Yeah. So for me, the gap's only getting bigger. I genuinely believe that they need to put their hands in their pocket and go and sign maybe another top quality centre half. And I think maybe it's time for them to go out and get a proper centre forward, because Firmino's been brilliant, holds up the ball really well. Very, very pleasing on the eye in terms of his footballing brain and what he can do. But they need to go and get someone now who's going to go and score goals regularly, Crookie.
Yeah, they can have Anthony Martial if they like. A lot of Manchester United fans wouldn't have a problem. But listen, they're not easy to come by, and that's why people like Harry Kane and even Danny Ings down at Southampton are so.
But there are some available.
The problem you have though is if Liverpool don't finish to the top 4, what top centre forwards? All right, they'll attract players, but top centre forwards want to go and hope they get in the Champions League that season.
And that could be a problem with Salah as well. I mentioned that he's been talking about Real Madrid, talking openly. If Liverpool don't qualify for the Champions League, suddenly players like him and Sadio Mane might think, maybe I'm looking around at alternative options. Maybe I'm looking at a move abroad.
I mean, they can't lose Salah and Mane and these guys. But I still think them being Liverpool, I still think they're going to be able to track the top players. But I'll tell you what, it will seem very, very strange watching Liverpool if they finish 6th in the Europa League. I mean, that would be Thursday nights. It's not a good look, but for Liverpool Football Club, we talk about the champions, the guys that were nearly breaking records last season, playing in the Europa League. Do you think, as a football club, they'll want that because they're still in Europe, or do you think they'd rather probably miss that out? Ambrose, I'm coming to you with this question. They'd rather not finish in the top 6 if it's not going to happen top 4, and then go again next season to try and win the league, or do you think they go, oh, we're still in Europe?
I think they want to win something. It's a difficult question, actually.
It is a difficult question.
I agree with you. I think they'll come again. The next 3 games, they play Sheffield United, Chelsea and Fulham. So they need to turn it around.
Well, Fulham, they got lucky. Fulham played really well against them, got really lucky. Chelsea's going to be a difficult game. Sheffield United have caused them problems before.
So Are you saying they're not going to win again this season?
I think listen, I think they will. I think they're too good of a team, too good of a players to not win again. But I think the alarm bells are there.
Crookie, I mean, what top centre forward? We're talking about top centre forwards, top centre halves. All right, Van Dijk, Gomez, man, they're going to be fit again. But who's to say they're going to stay fit? Who's to say they're going to want to stay? Who can they attract if they finish 6th, 7th in the league this season?
Well, Jurgen Klopp will have a draw, and listen, Liverpool is still one of the 2 biggest clubs in England, so they will always attract players, the chance to go and play at Anfield.